Good morning. I'm Nick Travis.
And I'm Ella Burke.
You're watching Kicker Radio on YouTube. Radio produced by the journalism students at the College of the North Atlantic. For more great journalism, log on to kickercna.ca or follow us on Twitter at CNA Journalism.
Coming up next, while most people prefer to avoid ice during the winter, ice climbers in the St. John's area are enjoying a great climbing season. Allan Bradbury headed out to Flatrock to check out one of the spots.
Built up. The ideal conditions for climbing are not too cold, like within zero. So people think the colder it is, the better the ice is, and it's not. The colder it is, the drier it is, and it sucks the moisture out of the ice and makes it much more brittle and breaks easy. So the ideal ice is just below freezing. So there's days that we've climbed in the past where it's, 1, 0, -1, -2, where the ice is a little bit softer. So that means that you can sink the tools in a bit better and it doesn't fracture as much. So the ice doesn't break up as quick. When it's really cold and brittle, it breaks up the ice a lot quicker because there's no moisture.
Anxiety is one of the more difficult climbs on the Avalon. It's just this super cool, strangely it's like an overhung waterfall. Rock climbing is a lot more kind of flowy and movement based, and ice is, I guess, kind of more brutal and just intense. More of a brutal activity because you're swinging tools and you're smashing ice in front of your face all the time, and there's always stuff flying everywhere, and with rock you don't really have that problem.
Newfoundland, as beautiful as it is, can sometimes be a dreary place to live. This makes it incredibly tempting to stay inside and do nothing all day, especially during the winters. But these types of habits are not healthy for anyone. Nia is a program hosted by Elaine Dunphy that allows people to get out and get moving while connecting mind, body, and spirit. Next up is a story from Ella Burke.
Almost half of Newfoundland's population consists of people who are over the age of 45. And according to Statistica.com, in 2018, there were roughly 159,000 men and women over the age of 65. Elaine Dunphy offers a number of different Nia classes, and one of her classes is designed specifically for elders. Today, I was invited to join her and her welderlies. The Gentle Nia Movement classes consist of different exercises, from dancing to playing with a giant parachute. You would never think that some of these welderlies were once a little shy to each other. Elaine said that she has noticed a difference in how her students are communicating with one another. She's glad that she's able to provide an open space for people to socialize, while also being good to their aging bodies. Patricia Pike is one of Elaine's students. She has been attending the Gentle Nia Movement classes since October of 2018. One of the things Patricia enjoys most about these classes is moving to the music.
We do a lot of exercises you don't normally do in the gym or in core strengthening, especially for women. Their shoulders, their upper body is weaker, so we do a lot of work with that here. Unbeknown to us, because we do things to music.
Patricia said that music is the key to the exercises they do, because the dance-like moves don't feel like traditional exercise. Blanche Clark is another Welderly who has been attending these classes for about 7 months. She started going to these classes after she suddenly lost her husband. She said she was carrying a lot of her grief on her shoulders and back. Blanche could hardly move and was taking a lot of medication to ease the pain.
Scatter day I had to use the pain medication, but my shoulders are much looser. And like the lady said, she was across from me today and she said she can't believe the difference in my movement, so it's a good class.
A good class indeed. I personally found the class very meditational, and I was surprised to see that most of the women in the class were moving better than I could. The elders of our province deserve a class where they can let go of their worries, embrace joy, and exercise to a program designed just for them. And thanks to Elaine Dunphy, they can do exactly that. For Kicker, this is Ella Burke. Our movie buff reporter, Allan Bradbury, stayed up a little late last night to catch the Oscars. He joins us now to talk a bit about what happened.
Hey there, Alan. How's it going?
Not too bad. How about you guys?
I'm not too bad.
Bad?
So, can you tell me about some of the highlights that happened over the Oscars?
There was a few different things that happened. They're hostless again this year. Like they started that. I think it was last year after the Kevin Hart debacle. They went hostless again this year, which I thought felt kind of disjointed, but it means that you get a lot more faces in there and stuff like that. So I guess some people like it that way. There's a really interesting opening number from Janelle Monáe and Billy Porter. It started off with Janelle Monáe walking on a set that sort of looked like Mr. Rogers in a callback to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, the movie was Won't You Be My Neighbor, which was Tom Hanks' movie this year that a lot of people enjoyed, and Hanks was nominated for his role as Mr. Rogers. And then one of the big surprise performances during the Oscars was Eminem coming out singing Lose Yourself. And there was all kinds of shots of all of the celebrities in the audience rapping along. They all know the words off by heart. I had no idea. I was a bit young when 8 Mile came out, so I wasn't. I've never seen it. Those are some of the highlights, and it was an interesting show.
So who was the big winner then?
Parasite was the big winner last night. Parasite, if you haven't heard of it, is a Korean movie. It's in Korean. Parasite came away with 4 major awards. It won Best Original Screenplay, Best International Feature, which is actually technically, I guess it's a new name for an old category. It used to be called Best Foreign Language Film. So I don't know if that means they're going to be allowing English language movies into the category now or what. I'm not exactly sure, but it won Best International Feature. Also came away with director Bong Joon-ho winning Best Director, and then it won the big one, which is Best Film. And it's the first ever foreign language film to ever actually win Best Feature or Best Film.
Do you happen to know what that movie's about? I've actually never heard of it before it won, and I was kind of trying to figure that out today.
I haven't actually had the opportunity to see it yet. I'm not even sure if it's out on DVD yet. So I'm going to see if I can find it somewhere to watch this week. But from what I've gathered online, it's about a poor family, a very, very poor family, who sort of try and attach themselves, hence the title Parasite, to a much more wealthy family, and sort of all of the things that happen along the way. I think one tweet I saw last night is that it sort of starts out as a comedy and becomes quite a bit more dramatic as it goes along.
Sounds interesting.
So what were some of the other big winners then?
There were quite a few. I mean, it's the Oscars. There's a lot of awards that goes on for hours.
Some of the more notable ones then.
So Jojo Rabbit was the winner for Best Adapted Screenplay. That was the award went to Taika Waititi, who was the director and writer, and also played a role in the movie. Probably not a role that anybody would want. He played Adolf Hitler, which is a little strange considering the fact that he's from New Zealand, and he's also part Jewish, which was quite interesting. I think actually I read somewhere that the studio said that they would only make the film if he would play Hitler, which I thought was pretty funny.
That's interesting for sure.
Yeah. So that won best adapted screenplay. The screenplay was adapted from a book called Caging Skies. I've seen that movie, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was definitely deserving of the Best Picture nomination that it received. And then 1917 is a World War I movie that took home several technical awards. It won for cinematography, visual effects, and sound mixing. Sorry. And then, of course, you have the big actor awards, and you have Renee Zellweger, who won for her role as Judy Garland, who, as many people know, starred in The Wizard of Oz as a fairly young actress, and has sort of a tragic story in the rest of her life. And Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor for Joker, and one of the things that a lot of people will be hearing about was his sort of bizarre acceptance speech.
As he's known for.
Yes, that's true. He's known for championing his causes, I suppose, when he gets up there to accept his awards. So I guess it wasn't unexpected, but it was weird to me. And so Joaquin Phoenix won for Joker. Laura Dern won Best Supporting Actress, and she played the divorce lawyer in the Netflix movie Marriage Story, and she also hasn't won she hasn't won any Oscars before, and she's been in a lot of movies and nominated a few times before. So I was surprised to hear that she hadn't won anything. And then Brad Pitt won for his role as a stuntman in the twilight of his career in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is a Quentin Tarantino movie. So if people know about Quentin Tarantino, they know it's a little weird. It's sort of a revisionist history piece about a famous Hollywood incident, the Manson family murders. Some people know about. What I didn't know before that is that Brad Pitt had never won an award for acting.
Yeah, it's really
at the Oscars. He'd won previously as a producer for 12 Years a Slave a few years ago, which won Best Film. But so yeah, those are some of the highlights of the Oscars this year.
And what would you say would have been like your favorite movie to go through the Oscars this year? What was your number one?
I think for me, I didn't get a chance to see all the movies nominated, but I really did like 1917 as well as Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit was an incredible movie. Very interesting look at World War II from a totally different angle, because it tells the story from a point of view of a young German boy who's involved in the Hitler Youth Movement, and Taika Waititi plays Hitler, but Hitler as this boy's imaginary friend. So it's quite the interesting twist, and they managed to make a humorous movie out of a very serious situation, and it definitely does have its serious moments, but largely it was very funny.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting watch.
Did you guys have any favorite movies this year?
It was a bad year for movies for me, 2019. I would say my number one was Joker, simply because I didn't watch a whole lot of movies, but I really did enjoy seeing Joker.
Joker was really good. I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, I saw it in a theater with nobody around me, so that kind of added to the experience too. There was nobody in there. That was nice.
Yeah, mine was probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I really enjoyed that one. It was different.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Yes, thanks for joining us, Allan. Okay, so next, many people in St. John's want to see a greener, cleaner Newfoundland. Kickers Nick Travis went to Green New Drinks to discuss a green Newfoundland with the Social Justice Co-op of Newfoundland and Labrador.
The Green New Drink started as a monthly meetup for activists who are interested in a wide variety of things, social justice issues, environmental issues, and it began sort of as a way for people to sort of show solidarity for each other. It can be kind of lonely as an activist sometimes. You feel like you're the only person who cares about this so passionately.
possible to change. People want it to change.
Social justice co-ops emerged from Oxfam, St. John's, which was a really, really vibrant movement. Oxfam basically closed all of its regional offices, and the people in St. John's wanted to keep something that was rooted here rather than like kind of tacking on with Oxfam Canada. They wanted to keep something that was really rooted in St. John's.
No, it's not just about environmental issues. You know, climate change is a symptom of this bigger problem that exists in our society where we basically neglect our environment and the people around us to such an extent that it leads to crisis, right? The environment of climate change is the perfect example of how we just let it degrade for such a long time. But we do that everywhere, right? The way we treat, you know, people that are vulnerable, precarious, and indigenous, right? We just cast them aside, just like these environmental problems like climate change.
Most of the people who are organizing are volunteers. They have jobs from 9 to 5 or different hours, and that's the thing that's really tough is balancing. Because when you're trying to make social change, like in government, people this is their 9 to 5 job, but when you're trying to do it off the clock, it can be really tough to find the time and to do serious hard work of researching new policies, of doing consulting, coming out to events. All this is time and energy, and making time for that is really tough.
An increasing number of international students are studying in Newfoundland in order to develop their careers. Kicker's Jasmine Bird sat down with 2 international students to chat about the best and worst parts of studying in the province.
Migrants here really appreciate the opportunity to be in this country and to be in this province. So people shouldn't get discouraged by maybe the actions of some few people. And it was like early fall. So I really love the fact that it was really clean and that the city was beautiful and then lots of vegetation. This year was kind of like crazy, like for 1 week we're all stuck indoor, we couldn't really go out. I called my mom was really like afraid that she was freaking out. So it was just beyond imagination, I'll put it that way. Mm-hmm. Experience was the warmth of the people when I came in. I felt like people were really nice and really supportive.
The culture is completely different from where I came here. I'm from a country where a very conservative set of rules are being practiced rather. But here it's like more open culture is there. Immigration officers are like asking what you guys are carrying this much of herbs and stuff, because when we feel that like that paper, if you are carrying any type of a herb or thing, they think that we are carrying stuff to make some kind of a different type of a drug here.
The day after the storm of the century that brought the Avalon Peninsula to a standstill, Christine Rowe and her family lost their home to a fire. She thought she lost what wasn't replaceable. That was until her beloved rabbits were found in the home 3 days later. Ken Meeker has the story of Oreo and Smokey.
Oreo and Smokey, 2 tiny rabbits with a big story. On January 18th, the day after the monster storm that rocked the Avalon Peninsula, Christine Rowe's house caught fire. A firefighter said to quickly grab what they could. The rabbits were high on that list, but in the chaos, they took the wrong carrier.
So I said, are you telling me that either someone has them or they're still in the house? So we asked a couple of the firefighters, we think the bunnies might be in the house, and they said, well, we're not going in the house anymore. And we figured with all the smoke and that was it, we had lost them.
However, 3 days later, amidst the gyprockin ruin, a miracle. The rabbits were found alive in their carrier, covered in urine and hungry, but in surprisingly good shape.
Racing down to the house, I was like, pinch me. Is this real? Is this, is this really happening? And when I got there and I saw them, when I put on my coat, I took off and I kept thinking, please just, don't die on the way. You've lasted this long, 3 days in this cold. Please, God, let them be okay. When I walked into the vet that morning and I said, our house burned down. My bunnies were in the house for 3 days and they're alive. I need you to check them right away. They asked, which one's the one that was sticking out of the coat? I said, Oreo. And I unzipped my coat and I said, and this one's Honey. And they all went, oh, Honey! Honey's alive!
Before the fire, Smokey was named Honey. The vets found her to be a male. After the ordeal, he was fittingly renamed Smokey. Deanna and Marcianne are Christine's daughters. For such small rabbits, they think the rabbits have pretty large personalities.
Oreo is definitely a lot more shy. He likes to hide behind his brother, but they do stick together a lot.
Yeah. Smokey, he likes having a nice cuddle, and he likes being held in your arms, and he likes being on his back too.
During this ordeal, the community stepped up to help in a big way.
I'd say the next day we had bags and bags of clothes delivered. We had people had collected donations. Neighbors that I had never met on the street had gone around door to door collecting donations and clothes and brought them to us. My youngest daughter, her hockey team got together and collected enough because she needed all new hockey gear and she needed it for Saturday. So they got together and they collected money and paid for all new hockey gear.
Material things are replaceable. Oreo and Smokey, they're irreplaceable. For Kicker, this is Ken Meeker.
It's good news for some and bad for others. Valentine's Day is only 4 days away. Jasmine Bird is joining us in the studio now to talk about the top 5 things you can do over the holidays. Hey, Jasmine.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
So there's lots to do in St. John's, we know that. But if you're looking for something that's more than just a simple date night out, you really want to surprise your partner this year, then I have 5 things that I found from todocanada.com. So if you want to reminisce on all the awkward Tinder dates you were subject to before your current partner, why not head down to Boca's Tapas Bar and take in Tinder Tales, where storytellers and comedians chat about their ridiculous Tinder dates. That's all taking place on Wednesday, February 13th from 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. Admission is also $10 to $15. Are you more of an athletic and sporty couple? Then you can always go and take in the Growlers versus the Maine Mariners or Mariners this Valentine's Day, and you may even luck into a kiss cam. Prices range from $20 to $25. You more of a want to take in the action yourself, you can take your lover on a snowshoe walk through Pippi Park at 15 Mount Scio Road. Prices vary, but the fun you have won't. Cuddling up after the walk with some hot chocolate is always the best part. If you didn't realize Valentine's Day was this week and already spent your budget on dining out, like me, then not to worry, take the time to cook with your partner this Valentine's Day. A 3.5 to 4 hour couples cooking session leaves you with a delicious meal and some knowledge to make that perfect Valentine's Day at home next year. This can all be done at 282 Torbay Road, St. John's. Don't forget the candles, of course. Are you really looking to treat your partner to something extravagant this year? Then why not go the whole 9 yards with Lester's Farm Chalet? Treat your partner with an enchanting sleigh ride and a gourmet 3-course meal by candlelight. Tickets must be purchased in advance for $85. But above all, be safe this Valentine's Day.
Awesome. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you for having me.
This has been Kicker Radio, radio produced by the journalism students at the College of the North Atlantic. For more great journalism, log on to kickercna.ca and follow us on Twitter at CNA Journalism. Thank you for tuning in and have a great week.
Okay, and we are going off the air in 5, 4, 3,